Welcome back. I don't know. Okay, you're a counselor.
Yes.
So, while we're talking about counseling the parents or reorientating, Tony, I talked about reorientating, he talked about community, everybody getting involved. What are we learning? Both parents and children. What's being taught?
It's simple not to complain, and my candid advice is that if you imbibe a lot of love and equally not complain about your situation, just look for a way out of it. Because even if we complain, we keep complaining, we find that answers don't come at the end of the day. So if we can just, get it all together and look for a way out of it peacefully, because my person believe that with a lot of positivity you can achieve anything.
You're talking about love. Now, the story I told you during the break about the mom who brought her child from Ibadan, got to Ikorodu Road and just pushed him out of the bus, like, okay, time to go fend for yourself, mate. And this child is about 9 years old. I mean, can you talk about love in that? We don't know how many other children she has at home that she has brought this one to dump on the road in Lagos. She probably took another bus and went back to Ibadan. Or probably she moved to another town so that he won't be able to locate her.
But she's not equally happy as well. There's a lot of bitterness in her. There's a lot of, he didn't do it for me, the society didn't do it for me, the government didn't do it for me. So why should I do it for others? What I don't have, I can't give.
Yeah, but the other happens to be her child.
She does not care.
She wasn't forced to bring him into the world. She chose to bring him into the world.
At this point, she does not care. That is why the sensitization program has to stand. You have to love whether you like it or not, because at the end of the day, like, this mother is hurting herself. If you hurt your child, you're hurting yourself. So, but she doesn't know that. So it should be like a collaboration thing. Every individual has to know that you are equally a stakeholder. That pushing children out, frustrating them even at home when they do a little bit thing just because maybe you were not paid your salary or because you have some frustration, taking it out on the child is a problem. That's why the children's right has to stand, because you can't take it out on them. They are not responsible for these things.
Nobody seems to be caring about children's rights right now in Nigeria. Nobody seems to care.
If the people,
the laws are there, yes, on paper, yes. But even in Lagos State, that seems to be the pace setter. There are children roaming the streets during school time, selling bread at pure water at Maryland.
This campaign can be initiated right now. If the people watching us right now could inculcate it into themselves to share love irrespective of what is going on in the country, irrespective of what they are experiencing. They can make even their home a safe place. Some homes are not even a safe place for the children because of the rioting, the fighting between husbands and wives, the frustration, the economy problem that is pressing them down. They need to shove it aside because they've been continuing with this method and it's not working. So why don't you they say when a bunch of a broom is not broken, they can do anything. But once you scatter them, they are useless. So when they can come together, share the same message of love, take it outside, equally display it to other children, because a particular child is a child to everyone.
Laura, I like your message of spreading love. But let's look at the child out there who she said a child out there is not exactly experiencing that love. Even in the home, it's not safe.
Yeah.
And so you find some children who find solace in school. But in the school, what are they learning? Curriculum. What are they being taught in school? The teachers, what kind of teachers do they have? Are the teachers there because they just want a job, or they're there because they want to pass on knowledge to the children? Are the teachers even protecting the child? I wrote something here, and I'm taking this back again. Government versus family versus community for the sake of the child. How would that work out, Shea?
You said something earlier about finding that place. And I think learning, education, is not just passing information. So a child goes into school, you create that learning environment for them, and it matters as well, even if you don't get that at home. There are, you know, stories of teachers that are so passionate about what they do, okay? And because of that, they make sure that the students get the best out of it. So they even sort of almost supplement or you know, that love or that care and that tension that they don't get at home. They do that for the kids in school. But then that's someone that's dedicated and committed to their profession. But then when we ask, what kind of teachers do we have? You know, where in most rural communities, and I keep talking about this because a lot of times we can use Lagos or main cities as example, but when we go into these areas, you realize that the youth corpus, for example, are that. So as just as one student, you know, I have for 6 months one maths teacher. Then before I know it, it changes again. So there's this inconsistency of that person that I may bond and, you know, with a particular teacher, and I may actually enjoy English, maybe, or science, or history. But then in a few months, that's going to change. So for 6 years, I'm in school with just different faces and different people that are not even excited about teaching. You know, so what are we doing is, again, we need to address it. You know, yes, we to a degree, we use, you know, youth corpers, but are they really qualified in terms of teaching?
No, they're not.
And the quality and the learning experience and that relationship as a teacher that you need to have with your child or with your kid, you know, as a teacher. So there are issues there that need to be addressed. So on the government side, and we really need to look at it. You know, we need to really look at teaching. I know there are other initiatives about Teach for Nigeria and some other ones about training teachers and getting the right people that are interested in education to actually go into teaching. And then, you know, youth corpers ideally should be teaching assistant, not really controlling and being in charge of and assessing the classroom. Because you just finished as a maybe a grad in economics, and they expect you to go and teach a particular subject that you've not even done for many years. You know, how do you, with the curriculum, how versed are you with that? And then you do that for a few months, and then you leave. You know, and then with the parents as well, is your own part in knowing. I mean, I spoke to Anoba where we're working, and he said, you know, there's a Yoruba, these guys, they say something like, you know, any tio kawe ojeun, you know, so education does not matter to you know, to them, and that's because that's all they know. They're not educated, they're illiterate, so they can only give what they have, like you said. But then that comes with a lot of enlightenment and making them see the value of their children staying in school and getting an education, because ultimately, you know, their studies have shown that the additional year which your child stays in school can help with the earning income by more than 10%, and also contribute to the GDP per capita.
There's someone that said all these conversations of the protection of the child would not be necessary if the child finds solace at home. I mean, she alluded to that. But see this story. A friend told me a story of her friend, her classmate, who at about 13 years old, in school, she saw her friends being abused, but she could not talk to her parents. So she grew up with that mindset. She wasn't abused, but she saw her friends being abused, and they were seemingly enjoying it because the teacher gave out some perks to them. But she couldn't talk to her parents. So after that, she now said that she's praying now that she will not be that kind of mother that her children cannot talk to. Are children today free to talk to their parents?
Well, it's a yes and a no, depending on what family you're coming from and the values that are imminent in such families. I know a lot of children today are afraid to discuss certain issues with their parents, and that's because, I mean, sexual education, for example, most of the time children learn outside the home. Very rarely do you find parents who sit their young children down to educate.
Is that not changing?
Oh, well, I would want to think it is changing with some of us who are much older now, with the exposure that we've received and passing it on to our children. But in the rural areas, even when you discuss sexual education with adults, many of them still cringe. So if they cringe when an adult is talking to a fellow adult about sexual education, how